Hey everyone, Bearsfan092 from Smogon here again for our RNG abuse tutorial, this time for the Heart Gold and Soul Silver RNG for non-roaming legends and regular Pokemon, which like Diamond and Pearl operate on the same method. This method also works for roaming Pokemon to an extent, but there are some nuances that will not be covered in this video and as such should be read up on before attempting. We'll be attempting to get a bold hidden power electric Suicune for this video. First of all, we're going to assume you know your calibrated ranges, of which the process of obtaining those is the same as Diamond and Pearl. It also helps to have experience in Diamond and Pearl RNG, as all the concepts carry over, like hitting delay and frame. You'll also need to advance far enough into the game that you have entered Kanto after beating the Elite Four. You also need to show Elm the hatched Togepi egg and have obtained a Pokemon with active Pokeballs and have taken it to a Pokemon Center. The reasons for this will become evident later. Lastly, kill off any roamers that you may have had in the wild in both Johto and Kanto. They respawn if you redefeat the Elite Four, so don't worry about them disappearing for good. The first step is knowing that frame advancement is slower than in Diamond and Pearl, where rapid journal flipping advanced by 2 frames per flip. Because of this, higher frames are not as viable using the method that will be demonstrated in this video. Luckily, you'll find that many IVs occur multiple times on seeds with higher delays, some of which with lower frames. First, identify an IV spread that fits your target. This can be achieved by using the built-in time finder in Mingot's RNGreporter, but a more suggested route would be to utilize JavaRNG, developed by user Pikatimer of Smogon. Choose Method K if you're doing a stationary legend or a regular wild Pokemon. Method 1 is for roamers. Because we corner Suicune down to its final location near Cerulean City, is a stationary Pokemon and is Method K. Choose the nature, which is bold for our case. Leave the start and end at 0 for our purposes. If you have a sinker with the desired nature, indicate so in the sync nature field. I do not have a bold sinker and will hit none. Input IVs on whether you want exactly equal or greater than. For minimum delay, put your Heart Gold or Soul Silver calibrated time here. Mine is 490. For maximum delay, enter whatever delay you feel comfortable reaching for. You will most likely be choosing a delay in the thousands. I will enter 2500 as my maximum delay, but hitting things in the 7000s is not uncommon. Because we want hidden power electric 70, I will indicate so in the appropriate fields. If you know your ID and SID, you can also aim for shinies. I will ignore this, but if you are chasing shinies, the rest of the process remains unaffected. Click start and let the program do its work, and it will generate a file in the folder you keep JavaRNG in. Luckily, JavaRNG gave us a low frame result of 22. You won't always get this lucky, and as such, you'll have to use the open search function in RNGreporter to find a recurrence of this IV spread. Go into RNGreporter's seed finder and click open, and enter IVs in nature, and start checking around as to which seed yields the IV set with the lowest frame, preferably under 200. Take note of the seed you picked. Now go to the seed to time function of RNGreporter. Pick a seconds value you want to work with, although this is fairly arbitrary so long as you have a calibrated seconds value for reasons that will be explained later. However, I'd suggest picking 50. Input your seed from earlier, and pick the year. Click HGSS and then generate the list of seeds, all of which are viable and yield the same results. Pick one and then set adjacent criteria depending on how comfortable you are with your calibration data and skills hitting a delay. I elected to generate 20 delays in each direction of my target delay, but chose the exact second, as I was confident in my ability to land the target second of the seed. We are almost ready to begin. We now introduce a third program to the process. Using Pikatimer, developed again by Pikatimer, we have a tool that guides us in our timing and hitting higher delays. Enter all information that we gathered previously into the appropriate fields as I've done and hit create timer. The first and second timer fields should now have figures in them. And depending on your target relative to your calibrated information, the minutes before field could also change. In this case, it says change to 1 minute before. As my target was 0 hours, 53 minutes, and 50 seconds, I want to set my DS clock to the date of the seed at 0 hours, 52 minutes, and 0 seconds. When I set the DS clock, I want to start Pikatimer simultaneously. Just a quick note before we begin. If after you notice during the process of hitting your delay that you are consistently hitting a delay other than your target delay, input that delay into the other delay field, and Pikatimer will make the necessary adjustments to compensate for the margin you're missing by.
Okay, now we gotta do this. And you see I have Pikatimer right here with everything input. And I've got my DS set to the minute before, just like Pikatimer is instructed. So, I'm gonna have to start Pikatimer. You see the start button. And set the clock at the DS at the same time. Now, excuse me as I do this. Alright, now the stopwatch is running, and what you have to do now is start up your Heart Gold or Soul Silver game while this first clock is running. So I'm going to do that now. What this first timer will do is when it hits 0, this is when you're supposed to start restart the game no matter what manner you do it. For most people, this would be soft resetting. If you're using action replay, when this hits 0, that's when you'll want to hit the red start button on the screen. But I'm using a flashcard with soft reset, so that's what I'll be doing. Okay, now that I have soft reset my game, this is my delay counter, and I want to hit continue on the game screen at the same time this hits 0, so excuse me. Okay, so I'm loaded up in front of Suicune here. And what we do here to verify whether we hit our seed or not is use Professor Elm, and this is the reason why I had you do all those prerequisites like getting Togepi and whatnot. Ordinarily, you'll want to load up the Pokegear as soon as you can to avoid any NPC trouble, but there aren't any on this route, so it's not a real big deal. So, call up Professor Elm, and he'll either tell you about Kanto, Pokerus, or Evolution, and depending on the order that we can verify our seed. See right here, I'm not sure if you can read that, he's talking about the different ways Pokemon evolve. So, going back to RNGreporter, if we look at the order of Elm responses, this says K, indicating that it starts with Kanto, and that means we've already gotten something wrong. So make your first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Make your first 12 Elm calls, and then use RNGreporter's search Elm function and enter them all in here. And using this, you can figure out what seed you did hit. I'm going to figure out what I did because it's obvious that I missed it. Okay, so I'm an idiot and I left my Ruby in. So therefore it means I'm getting the wrong, whereas I want an even delay, right now I can only get odd delays until I take my Ruby cartridge out. But the same message is sent, I missed my delay and I found that I hit 12:15. Now if I'm going to redo the process over and over again until I hit my seed off camera. But if I were to constantly hit something in like the 12:13 to 12:17 range, I would input that into Pikatimer, which would compensate my delay for what I am hitting compared to what I should be hitting. So I'll see you guys when I actually hit my seed. Alright, so we've hit our seed, and I'm not sure if you can see those Elm calls, but I made all of them, including the last 3 E's. So that means that we have already advanced the frame to a certain degree by doing these calls. As a matter of fact, it's 1 frame advancement per Elm call. So I'm going to copy and paste the seed and generate the rest of the Elm calls. That way we can track where we are as well as where we need to be. So exiting out of Seeded Time Finder and going to the main window, I copied the seed to this field here, change it to method K, and then you're just using the IV filters to find our frame. We can see that it's, we also know that it's a bold nature. See frame 22 here. So then I changed the max results to 22 minus 1. And this will tell you everything, all the Elm calls that you need. And of course starting frame 1. And then clear out all other criteria. And there you go. And if you notice, the Elm calls down this column here match up with what you did earlier. So we're going to track down the triple E that we did. So after making that call, we are on this frame. See, like if I make the Elm call now, you're going to see that he's going to start talking about Kanto. See, in the Kanto region, if you can read that. So that means that we are now on frame 14. So once anyways, you're going to make Elm calls until you get all the way down to frame 21 and make the call here. Once you finish this call, I'll rejoin you and show you the finished product at the end. Okay, so I have now made the last Elm call, and basically there's nothing left to do except speak to Suicune. So in any situation, you probably just want to exit the Pokewalker and talk to Suicune as fast as you can. Actually, Pokegear. But that way we don't have any NPC movement affecting frame advancement, but this is a quiet zone, so there's no real risk of that. So, but nonetheless, here we go. Alright, so let's check our result. Let's go up and hit Pokemon. Let's check out our status screen. Alright, bold often dozes off, good. That would be indicative that we have hit our result. But I'm going to use an action replay code to check its IVs, and that should finalize it. Hold on. See, there, not sure if you can read that. There we go. And as you hit, the IVs match up to our desired product, so this RNG abuse is done. You can apply this process to regular Pokemon using Sweet Scent or other legends. There might be slight catches for each Pokemon, like Lugia. You can't make Elm calls within the cave Lugia is in, but you can make Elm calls outside. But there's little nuances like that for everything. So I suggest you read up on it if you have any questions, and thanks for watching.